Welcome to Papa's Workshop. Well, today's the day. I'm starting up my new CNC machine for the first time. Now this is the Genmitsu Prover XL 4030. Now I'm using the Universal G-Code sender to be able to operate and control the machine. And I'm also designing the project in Easel because I know many of you use that program to be able to design all of your different projects. So I'm combining those two different projects. I'm going to show you how the machine carves and how to generate the G-code from Easel and get it to the machine. So let's get started. A day in the shop with Papa and Papa's Workshop. To support my channel, please go to patreon.com/Papa's Workshop. In today's video, I'm starting up my new CNC machine using Easel and the Universal G-code sender. I'm turned on the controller, and I'm also using the USB cable to the computer, and I'm using the Universal G-code sender, or UGS. Now I went with the device manager and established that COM5 was the port that I needed to be able to use, and now it's time to move it for the first time. And it works exactly as it should. I want to move 6 inches to the left, and it moves 6 inches to the left. Same thing coming forward, went 6 inches forward, and it's rock solid. So I'm going to test this out, make sure that I can move it in all the different directions, and then we're going to create a file. Now let's make sure that it moves up and down on the Z-axis, and you can see it does very nicely. Now moving 1 inch at a time in both directions, and perfect. So now let's go over and design our first project in Easel. Okay, the wood that I have is 12.5 on the width and 6.25. It is 3/4 of an inch thick, so that takes care of that. So now I have the working area. So I'm going to go over here to the text, and I'm going to pick a bold text. Let's do this right here. So we have that, then I can put that right up here in the center. Now let's grab this again. We'll use, let's see, let's use a different text just for the sake of doing it. Let's make this smaller. We'll bring this down right into this area. We'll bring this up to here. And then we'll use the same text again. We'll shrink this down. Put that right there. That looks good. Now if you notice over here, some of the letters are not showing up, and that's because the 1/8 inch bit is too large. So we'll change that. Let's change this. Why don't we do a 90-degree V-bit, And let's see what that looks like. That's not bad. We'll center this to the material. There we go. What would it look like with a 60-degree bit? And that looks pretty good. We don't need to go this deep. We'll make it a little bit deeper. That gives a pointed bottom here. It gives a flat bottom in this area. Gives a little bit of a flat bottom, but not a lot. Let's just leave it at that. Now, to be able to carve this, I need to use a 1/4 inch collet on the ER11 spindle mount. So we're going to go ahead and switch that over. Now I think I'm going to leave this just as it is. So let's go over to the machine. I want to go to the advance. I want to set this up for auto, so it'll actually turn the spindle on automatically, and we're going to generate the G code. Now this window popped up because I'm using Easel Pro features. Mainly I'm using the V-Carve, I'm using a Pro font, and I don't want to do that. So we're going to go ahead and back out of this, and I'm going to change the font and change the bit. Now I don't want to use the V-bit, so I'm going to come back up here and we're going to change this to a 1/16 of an inch bit, and we're going to go ahead and change the depth. I'm going to change the depth to 0.1. I think I'm going to go ahead and put it at 0.8. I think that will work fine. And hit the preview. That looks good. Now for this project, I don't want to use the V-Carve and the Pro features. So we're going to go back up and change the text on the Prover XL 4030. So what I'm going to do is use the same exact font as I have for the Genmitsu, and that's just easy to change. And this just shows you how easy it is to be able to change the bits and how easy it is to change the fonts. It's not hard at all. And I realize a lot of you do not have the Easel Pro, and that's the reason I wanted to go ahead and switch to a non-pro bits and fonts. Now I realize a lot of you don't have the Easel Pro, so I went ahead and changed back to a regular 1/16 of an inch bit to be able to carve the project. Now I know some of you have been asking, well, if I get Easel, do I have to eventually pay for it after the 30 days? No, you don't. Easel, which is the basic free version, and then there's Easel Pro, and you do have the choice. So today I'm using simply the Easel software, not the Pro version, to be able to do the carving with this machine. If you choose to upgrade, you can do that by buying the subscription for the Easel Pro. You do get some extra features such as the V-carving, you get the rasper, you get the ability to ramp into your projects. So there are some nice features, but it's not an absolute requirement. Now I've also got a link down in the description below if you want to check out the Easel software, set up an account, and experiment and play with it and learn it. It's a very easy software to be able to learn. So this is the bit that I'm going to use today to be able to carve this little test project. Now to be able to hold this project down, I'm just going to use some glue and the tape method, and I'm using the Starbond glue and just regular painter's tape, and that is it. Now I do have a link in the description below where you can purchase this at a 15% discount, so that's a real good deal. And it doesn't need a whole lot of tape. Just 2 pieces like this is plenty to be able to hold it. I'm going to flip this over, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the tape down onto the board itself. And like I said, you don't need a whole lot. Then I'm just going to dribble out just a little bit of glue. See, that's just a real small stream. I'm going to do the same thing down here at the other end. Said it does not take a whole lot. From there, I'll just spray the activator. Then I'll just set it down. Hold that for just a moment, and it's ready to be able to carve. You come back just a couple of minutes later, it's secure and it's ready. So let's go ahead now back to the computer. We'll save the G-code and we'll come over and carve this little test piece. Now I'm not using any easel features as far as the project for today. So I'm ready to be able to save the G-code now. So I'm just going to click on the machine tab, go over to the advanced. I do have this set up on the automatic so that the spindle will be able to turn on. And then I'm going to generate the G-code. We'll export the G-code now to the computer. And this is just an untitled file. So let's go ahead now and close this. We're going to minimize this down. I already have the universal G-code set up, so I'm going to open that now. Okay, I have the universal G-code open. This does operate on the COM5, so I'm going to click on open, and then under machine controls we have to release the alarm. So that is done by hitting the $ and the X. I always like to test and make sure that it's going to move. So I'm going to go ahead and move this to the right, and you can hear it, it's moving just fine. So I'm going to manually move it over to about where my XY 0 position will be. So right there is good enough for my XY 0 position. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to reset my X, reset my Y. And as far as the Z, now I'm just going to use the paper method to manually set the Z axis for today's project. So that is set. I'm going to raise it up 1 to be able to get my paper out. And I'll move that back to my XY 0 position. Right now I have this as an X, Y, and Z home position. I have reset on the universal G-code, the X, Y, and Z, all to 0 as well. Now at this point I'm going to go up here to the file mode, and I'm going to go over to browse, and I'm going to pull up the download. And let's see here, downloads. And we'll scroll over to the Untitled. We'll open that up. And we'll do a visualization on it. Okay, with the visualization, you can see how that's going to carve out. So let's go ahead and do this. At this point, all I need to be able to do is hit send, and it will start carving. Now because we have the automatic setup on the easel, the spindle will turn on automatically and it will move and begin carving the project. I really like having the spindle with this automatic off and on. versus having the DeWalt where I had to turn it on and off manually. So this will take just a few minutes to be able to carve, and we'll check on it along the way. And one of the things that I really like having a spindle is extremely quiet. You're not going to disturb any neighbors with a spindle such as this. As far as the feed rates, I kept them exactly the same with the default settings in Easel, and with this machine I certainly could have speeded it up. So this is rock solid, and it's doing an excellent job carving this little test project. Now it's almost finished, and I want to kind of back out so you can see the whole project, and this is looking really, really sharp. Now I believe this was 40 inches per minute. I could have easily doubled that. Now it's finishing up the last letter, or in this case the 0, and once it's completed, then it will go ahead and move directly to home and turn off the spindle. I really like that feature, and looking at the completed project, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Now I think I'm going to go ahead and paint this so that you can see the full effect of this carving. Thank you for watching the videos today. And if you like the video, please go ahead and hit that little subscribe button down below and the bell notification next to it so you won't miss out on the different videos that I'm uploading. I do have quite a bit planned. I want to be able to do some inlays, I want to be able to do some 3D carving, and I got some other projects planned as well. So that will really help out if you subscribe and hit the notification so that you can stay up to date with my videos. Now I also have some other videos over here that you can take a look at and stay up to date on all the different happenings in my shop. So I want to thank you for watching today. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in the next project in my shop.